Hi and welcome to this month's video training. Today we will be learning the piece Small Changes. Let's go over the time signature and the key signature for this piece. Small Changes is written in C major 4/4 time, which means there will be 4 quarter note beats per bar. You can count out the rhythm by saying 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's probably the simplest. You could also do 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not a really fast song. It's marked at about an andante marking of 80, so around a walking pace of 80. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's going to be your final tempo for playing the song. Make sure you practice it at a slower, more manageable speed. I encourage you to do a good warm-up of the C major scale and triads in whatever form you're comfortable in before beginning this song. Notice that there is a legato marking at the beginning of the song. Legato means to play smoothly. Since it is marked legato, you're going to try to make your left hand as smooth as possible with no break in between the notes, even while your notes change position. I suggest learning this piece hand separately first. So first we're going to take a look at the right hand part. Let's try counting the beats of the bar and clapping where the right hand will come in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see how it comes on beat 3 and the second half note is on beat 1. Your right hand will actually be in C position with your thumb on C, even though you're starting on E with finger 3. And you won't need to move your hand throughout this entire piece. It will stay in the same position. There's only very small differences in the notes that you'll be playing in both hands. So take a look at the first set of notes in the right hand, and you'll notice that they are a third or a skip apart, and you'll be playing from E to G. Move that ahead to measure 4, and you'll notice that it starts again on E, but instead of moving to a G, it's actually moving up a major second to F sharp. Moving ahead to measure 6, it's very similar to the last set of notes you're playing, except instead of an F sharp, you'll be moving to an F natural. Like that. You'll be playing the E to the F natural for 4 times until you get closer to the end of the piece. In measure 14, you'll actually change to finger 2 on D, and you'll be playing another second, but you'll be playing from D to E. And the final measure is a whole note on C using your thumb. I suggest getting familiar with these 4 changes between the right hand notes. This will really help when it comes to putting it hands together with the left hand, which is a little bit more involved. This is also a great way to start on memorizing the right hand and actually learning the piece by rote. If you notice between each set of half notes that there is a curved line, and that's called a slur. And that means to play the 2 notes connected or smoothly. And in this case, because the first note of the right hand comes in on a weaker beat, beat 3, and it goes to a stronger beat, beat 1, the sound that we don't want is a little bit heavier on the first note, like this. Instead, think of the first note as going to the second note. And so you're going to play into the key of the second note and play down into the key a little bit more with a little bit more weight. Choose one set of right hand notes to practice the slurs. When you're happy with the sound on that set of notes, move on to the next set and work on the slurs again. The left hand of this piece plays constant 8th notes throughout the whole song until the very last note. So if you were going to count this piece and clap the notes of the left hand, it would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you will be playing constant eighth notes that fall on the strong beats, as well as the pulses or the ands in between each strong quarter note beat. Each group of left-hand notes is similar in that it starts with your pinky or the bottom note, and it plays 4 notes that are ascending or going up on the keyboard. There are just very small changes in between the groups of notes from the beginning to the end. If you look at the score, the first group starts on G with your pinky, and by the time you're at the end of the piece, you're on C with your pinky. Another way to say that is that the left hand starts on the dominant or the 5th note of the scale, and it ends on the tonic or the 1st note of the scale. Now let's learn the left hand notes. What I like to do is look at the notes and block them out if it's a broken chord. So in this case, you're going to play G, A, C, and D in a solid form. I find playing broken chords in a solid form helps me visualize on the keyboard the shape of that chord. Rather than thinking of each note as individual, I can sort of think of it more as a block, and I can identify the small changes in between each block. And that seems to help me. You can try this out yourself and see if you also like learning it in this manner. Let's look at the changes now between the different groups of left-hand notes. In measure 1, you're playing G, A, C, D. And this repeats all the way through measure 8. The first change is actually in measure 9, where you will be playing F, G, A, and C. So notice now that instead of playing 5, 4, 2, 1, you're playing 5, 4, 3, 1. And you've also moved the group down by 1 note. Your next group is in measure 11. Your pinky will move down to D, and then you'll be playing G, A, and C, similar to the last group of notes. So really the only thing that changes is the pinky note. The final group you're going to play in the left hand is pinky on C, F, G, C. Notice in the second to last measure in the left hand, the bottom pinky is going to hold while you play that very last group of 8th notes, and it's tied to the last measure. So make sure you hold that down in between measures. So you should hear 2 notes sound together in the very last bar. Let's talk about a few ways to practice the legato playing in the left hand. I would definitely try to put a little bit of an emphasis on the first note of each group, because you don't want one of the ones in the middle or even the thumb to stick out. So for example, that kind of sticks out a little bit, and it takes away from the nice legato feeling and the nice calm feeling. So instead, try for just a little bit of a slight emphasis on the first note of each group. And that helps you keep a steady beat as well, because you're having a pulse occur on the strong beats of each measure. You can also put the metronome on at a slow tempo, or you can count out loud or tap with your right hand in order to help your left hand keep a nice steady tempo while you practice the smooth playing. Make sure you practice this piece hands separately and without pedal before trying to put it hands together. When you do put it hands together, leave out the pedal for now until you're really comfortable playing the whole thing, and then add the pedal in. You can break it up into 3 different manageable chunks, and you can start at the beginning or you can start at the end and work your way backwards. It's totally up to you. When you're ready to add the pedal in, notice that you're not going to change the pedal every measure, but it's every second measure. A pro tip for boosting your musicianship when you're practicing this song is to really think about the small changes that are happening between both the right hand and the left hand, and listening really closely to those changes and asking yourself, how does that change the sound? How does it change the mood of the chord? Is that a happier or a sad sound to the chord quality just by making that small change? Or maybe there's another change that it adds. Maybe it has some dissonance to it that it didn't have before. And how does that change the quality or the character of the piece itself? I've left it up to the performer to add dynamics. As a performer, you have the discretion to make small changes to the music as you see fit, to tailor it to your own liking, to tailor it to your own performance and musicality. You can change the character or the mood of the piece dramatically just by adding small changes such as dynamics. Have fun playing around with the dynamics and see if you can come up with a version that you really love. Here's a performance of small changes. Good luck learning this piece this month. I really enjoy this piece. It's just a very reflective piece, and I hope you enjoy it too. And I'll see you in the next video.